Hello everyone, this is CJNovo982 and today we're back for another brand new video, and honestly I needed that right there, people, because I'm still under the weather. But if there was ever anything in this world to give me a shot of adrenaline, apart from literally a shot of adrenaline, it was it was that game right there, people, because it literally had everything. It had drama, it had excitement, it had frustration, it had grey hair, a second syndrome, but thankfully it ended the way we all wanted it to actually happen, with a win for Rangers, saying goodbye to the sheep, marching on to the final, and sitting here with a smiley thumbnail that looked very similar to this. And again, I'm not going to take that moment, that feeling, that vibe, that thumbnail for granted, people, because again, there were spells in that game it didn't seem like it would be a happy afternoon, but it was. We well and truly got the job done, and again, Michael Beale, for me, has silenced his critics already, in my opinion, because again, he is still playing for the previous hymn sheet, people. You know what I mean? He's not had his opportunity to bring this guy and move this guy and get this the way he wants to go. I know people say, well, he was here when we were signing players under. I know that, people, but that doesn't necessarily mean that was exactly who he wanted and every time. Again, he was just a coach at that time. But the fact that he's came in, not only steadied the ship, but again got us sailing in the right direction, is a tremendous job for the manager. So I wanted to actually give him a little bit of a shout, because I don't think if we didn't make the change we made, we'd have had the results that we've had, not only in terms of the wins, even the draw versus Celtic, which again was frustration because we were a couple of minutes away from winning that as well, but now also getting through to the final. I know we'd go to the semi-final, but I just never believed that we would have got what we got out of these players. And again, over a short period of time, which is what, about 6 weeks, he's got us back battling and grafting. How many times this season did me and you sit here and say, what is going on with our team? We're slow, we're lethargic, there's no grafting, there's no hard work, we can barely run, everything like that. We sat and said that for months upon months upon months, and now in such a short period of time, he's got us back playing like that. He's maybe squeezed the last bit of juice out of certain players that he possibly can to put us in this position. And now I'm sitting here after that semi-final win, after that Old Firm game, after the away games that we actually had recently. Now I'm sitting here looking at the Rangers board and saying, back the guy now. He's done you a turn right now. Back him. And I just wanted to say that, people, and tip the cap to the gaffer. But of course, we need to actually get in to this game recap, otherwise we'll be going on extra time, and nobody wants to look at this face longer than necessary, people. So let's go ahead and discuss it then, shall we? We're of course here to discuss Rangers 2, Aberdeen 1, and if you didn't hear me, I'll say it again. Rangers 2, Aberdeen 1, Rangers march on to the final. And I don't think I can go any further into the actual video without mentioning the next man's name. It might be technically illegal that I haven't mentioned him so far, but it's none other than Ryan frickin' Jack. Not only is the man back and he's repaid the faith and all the battling, I've sat here and argued in your favour, Jacko, my man, is not only has he took that with back to back great performances and back to back man of the match performances, spoiler for the actual video, he's took the jeers, the boos, the whistles, the dog abuse, the vile abuse that this laddie gets for the Aberdeen fans. Remember when he had a shot in the first half and he went over the bar and they were going, way! He took all it. People went, okay, with these wee demon eyes that he's got, and just fired it right back at them, because not only did he get a goal in this game, he was simply magnificent, and he sent every single Aberdeen fan away for that grunt, unhappy, and that, for me, deserves a contract extension. No seriousness, he was absolutely tremendous, and I just love that. That's the storylines we're actually talking about, and that's going to come up several times in today's video. But if you want a short little story, if you don't have time to watch the full video today, Ryan Jack and Scott Wright sent Aberdeen out of the cup. Beautiful. It's very pleasing in that itself. And I'll be honest with you, see the way the game actually started, because of course we saw the return of Alan McGregor and we saw Morello start up front, which we broke down in yesterday's video where we spoke about the game, the battle with Stewart, all that stuff. I was actually buzzing, because I think the way we started this game, the first 10 minutes is the best we have started a game for donkeys, people. Not only because we hit the bar with Sakala, as it was a good little invention from a corner, we're actually got imagination now, people. You know what I mean? We're actually trying things for corners, not just outswinger, outswinger all the time. We've actually got a bit of invention. Tavernier plays it short. In fact, sorry, I believe it's actually Barisic that plays it short. He gives it to Kent. Kent hits it to Tavernier. Tavernier then whips it from outside the box. Sakala gets a good header on it. Probably should do better, but again, it's in the first half, not second half. Sakala, so you understand it. But it wasn't even just the fact that we did hit the post in the 4th minute of the game. It was the aggression, the way we were biting. Lundstrom and Jackal getting in, winning the ball back, pinning them back. I went, Jesus, I've not seen this in a long time. This is going to be a cricket score if we keep this tempo up. But despite Tillman especially getting on the ball and creating us a couple half chances, we didn't quite have enough behind us to take the lead in the game. And I thought our fantastic start started to peter away after about 12 minutes, and then Aberdeen came into the game out of nowhere, and they had their best spell in the game where I think the first incident I want to talk about, right, because of course their goal, I'm not getting into it yet for my insanity. Is there any pills here? I need pills. Honestly, my head's about to explode. But anyway, I'm not getting into that right now because I want to talk about the first incident, because I think this is important. Because if you look at it, Aberdeen have the ball in the net first from Big Millie up top for them. He puts it in, but it's a ball over. We know it's offside, right? So look at the way that we respond to this. Davis kind of half-heartedly is walking back, doesn't put a challenge in, and then McGregor just lets it go in because he knows it's offside. That was worrying to me because I know they know it's offside and everything like that, but he's play to the whistle. It's elementary stuff, people. It doesn't matter with the way the rules change. The linesman is not putting his flag up to stop the play until the play is dead, so you may as well try and put your body in and win the ball back or stop the actual attack. That was a worrying sign to me, and I actually said that at the time. I was like, I didn't like that we've kind of nonchalantly went, chest out, aye, that's offside. That's crazy arrogance. And what happened? 15 minutes after that, came back to bite us. But before we actually go ahead and discuss, you know what, people, and break down that goal, which was again horrible, stinking and embarrassing, I want to actually talk about what's going to get lost in a lot of the shuffle with the headlines going to be everywhere. There was some fantastic football that was played, believe it or not, especially in the first half, and especially on a surface that I wouldn't even take a tramp there to. People, it was horrendous to look at that embarrassing surface, and it better be in a much better condition for the actual final, or the game shouldn't be there. I voiced my opinion on Hampden. I didn't like Hampden that there. Even the game yesterday with Celtic and that, I didn't see the game, but I seen obviously the highlights and that was getting posted and all the clips that was going around on Twitter, but the standard of that as well, what are we doing? You know what I mean? But putting that to one side, we actually still managed to zip the ball about and have some good bits of plays, which will probably get lost. But I just wanted to give a wee bit of a shout out to the actual football that was played, because again, it will get overlooked because a lot of these headlines. And I'm looking at Tillman and I'm looking at Kent especially. They were both just creative havoc in that first half. They were getting on the ball, they were beating people, they were playing it in. Tillman especially, man, we drag back first time pass in behind to Tavernier, whips a ball in that was unluckily not falling to Alfredo Morelos, and then you had Tillman just getting on the ball again, driving on it. He beats a couple of men, he sets up Ryan Kent, who drag. In fact, he actually gets a shot on target, which is a good save by Roofe, and then Tillman does an outside of the foot volley back heel. I didn't even understand how he does it, but he sends the defender that way, back heels it to Sakala, who does so well to cut inside, shift all his weight on the left foot, releases the ping. I'm thinking it's in, but it just goes over. Again, I know they finished that record up, but you can clearly see what Michael Beale wants for these two players, and I thought they were excellent, both Ken and Tent people. Apparently, they're Tent now. That's their ship name, people. Suppose it's a little better than Kilman. It would be the other way. Nah, Tent's better, people. But I just wanted to shout the both of them out because they created enough in the first half that if we were a little bit sharper, if we had Morelos in a bit more better vein, especially with some of the attacks that we put him in behind when he was free on the left-hand side after a gorgeous counter-attack where he just didn't believe in himself. He just never had the legs to drive in and hit it with his left. He stops, puts it on the right and scuffs it a mile wide. If we were a little bit sharper with the other pieces, we could have put Aberdeen away here, people. But how many times have you heard me say that? And again, something else you've heard me say is goal line clearances, and this one is hard because once again there's great invention from the corner. This time it's Tavernier faking the in-swinger. He passes it out and it's just a carbon copy of what we've done before. He goes out to Barisic. Barisic, great ball in to the back post. Morelos gets up, headers it down. It's a save by Roofe and he's sort of fallen on his line and he kind of just hits it like that. But you know what really annoys me is we've got 3 players in and around that area. See somebody like a Scotty Arfield to go and sniff that out. He's banging that. He's probably scored in a both the ball and the goalie. He's done it before. He'll do it. Again, didn't test him. Didn't test Scotty Arfield. But if you look at Morelos, he's got a chance to get in there and follow up and just smash it in. But he's wanting to celebrate and he's like, it's in. It's in. And Goulton's like, it's in. It's in. No! There's goal line technology. The lads will tell you. Hit the ball in. Then celebrate. That is frustration. And it was another example of us not playing to the whistle. And if you sort of notice in between my mental ramblings in today's video, that's the pieces, that's the thread that goes through. We've mentioned it in the first half where they scored but it was offside. Now later on in the first half, again, we've not played to the whistle actually and put the ball into the back of net. And then for the third time in 45 minutes, we do not play to the whistle with one of the worst. And I'm not being bitter and I'm not being biased when I say this because Rangers conceded it, but it's the single worst goal that has ever been scored in a Scottish Cup game, people. Because what happens is, it's a ball in behind. We've got a high line, of course, because we were on the ball, but it's a counter-attack. Davies steps up. It's offside, right? Big Millie for them is offside. But you ken who isn't offside? Matt Kennedy, who's in his half by 15 yards and at least 10 yards in front and behind Barisic. Well, if he's not going to touch the ball, I'm just going to run up and try to do it. So Davies is kind of, to be fair, at least Davies doesn't actually stop like a Barisic does, but he's kind of marauding, just slowly, surely just trying to jog back to the ball. But Barisic, again, Barisic has just not got any defensive awareness at all because Kennedy just blows by him. And it's not even when they get here and here that he switches on and tries to run. It's after. And Kennedy just runs through. It's 2-on-1 now. It's a ball into the mixer. Davies can't get there. I think he's wrong-footed in that as well. And to be fair to the big centre forwards, it's a nice kind of touch finish. But McGregor's like that and that as well. And you're sitting back thinking to yourself, what have I just witnessed? It's criminal for the defence. Play to the whistle. Sorry about that. We are now back after a coffin break. We are now back in action. The goal was horrific, but it just sums us up, and we end up going into half-time 1-0 behind there, bouncing love and life, and we're sitting back thinking, how have we conceded again for the only shot in target? Why did we give them a goal? And these wee silly mistakes and the wasted chances, there is so much frustration boiling at first half, but yet, I'll be honest, as you saw, if you follow me on social media and everything like that, I wasn't worried about us losing this game, and that's probably the fact that Michael Beale was now in charge, people. There's no that worry and dread that I used to feel at the pit in my stomach. I went, right, we'll change it, because we normally start second halves off alright, so I'm alright. And I was so adamant, if you watch yesterday's preview video on that as well, I know it's easy to say now because it actually worked, but of course I wanted, and I just felt as if Kemar Roofe would have his say on the game, and I felt like he would score, so I tweeted that out just at half time. Didn't worry or whatever, Kemar Roofe will score, or Roofe will score, and I was wanting him on, I was expecting him on, because let's be fair, Coulson was having a fantastic game for Aberdeen versus Sakala, shut him down in every aspect, and Graham Shinnie was shuffling everything in the middle as well, which was annoying me, because did you see that Rangers board? Who was Aberdeen's best overall player? It was Shinnie. Do you know when he got them? January. Do you know when they got them today? Early January. Do you know why? So he could play in the semi-final. That's a wee bit madness, that. And it's signing players so they can impact the biggest games of the season. Let's not wait so long for the next signing after Cantwell comes on the Monday or the Tuesday, please. And thank you. But aye, it works for Michael Beale as we came out invigorated and full of the old special coffee, if you will. We were getting involved and stuck into everything, and we picked our levels back up for where it dropped just before the end of the first half in the period where Aberdeen had their best success. But again, it still wasn't pretty, and every time Aberdeen went forward you were like, this right there. But again, we did start to build, we did start to go forward, and it's no surprise to me that it's Ryan Kent especially involved in absolutely everything, people. And I'm just going to jump right to the equaliser because again there is so much to discuss. Just his ability to pick the ball up centrally, turn in tight areas and beat people is invaluable, because that takes not only one Aberdeen player out, it takes two Aberdeen players out, and once you beat them, because they're again man for man or other place, you've then got space, and that brings someone else who then creates other space. I know it's nerdy, I know it's stupid to say, but just Kent's positioning, the way he runs, despite him frustrating the life out of us sometimes, is so important to the what Michael Beale wants for his side. And He's so big here, he passes it to Jacko, who brings out the old back heel. By the way, brought it out a couple of times this afternoon, but he brings in a back heel, but he doesn't admire his unbelievable back heel as it gives it to Morelos. And to be fair to Morelos here, who again, I didn't think played overly well in the game again, if you want. He was big here, holding Stewart off. He passes it back to Jacko, who was in a much better position. And Jacko has a shot that, yes, is deflected, people, but if you didn't shoot, you didn't score. Trust us, we've watched it for long ago, and Jacko gets his luck and he gets his moment that he has been chomping at the bit to have versus Aberdeen again, especially in this type of atmosphere. It's a wonderful goal. It wrong foots the goalkeeper. We're now back into the game. The substitutions have been cancelled because just before that, people, Roofe was sitting on his deck like this, like your granddad on holiday at Ibiza, just sitting chilling every single moment that he could, time wasting for 50 minutes onward. And then, like the bat signal, Scotty Arfield was shown on the big screen and sun shines. It went right to the Aberdeen fans and they're all gone, because he's got that man scared, people, you know what I mean? It's not about the man, because a man can be defeated. It's about the symbol, people. And that lad's face, tea in hand or no, saluting or no, is a symbol to the Aberdeen fans that it's no gonna be their day. And just everything changed for that, despite the fact that as soon as we scored, we cancelled the substitution. The damage was done. The intimidation factor for Scotty Arfield had worked, and now it was well and truly Rangers' time to shine and really put pressure on Aberdeen. And they kept building and building and building, and Kent was just out there mocking folk, man. He just made Ross McCrory, made him look like an Aberdeen player again, and shown why we actually sold him. The way he turns him, twists him, and then nutmegs him again, has the boy spitting the dummy out where he just comes from behind and nails him. It's cynical, it's no one playing the ball. It's just because Ryan Kent's playing at a level that none of them can touch, that they have to result to hurting him, because they can't stop the laddie. But again, Rangers were in the ascendancy. We were huffing, we were puffing, we were trying to blow the hoose down, but we never really got that clinical edge. Now I know Aberdeen hit the post in the 71st minute, but again, it's offside. And again, it's after a long spell of the guy being offside. So I don't think it's technically classed as offside, because once the play's dead, he then goes, woohoo. So they have that moment, but again, it would never have counted either way because it was offside. Then we start to make some substitutions, and then Kemar Roofe comes on the park. And again, I've just been so adamant that he was going to score. Now, people might say, Morelos never scored. He got an assist. He done his job in that aspect. He was big when we needed him to be big, so Morelos had his impact the game. But now it's time for Roofe. Now it's time for the striker that wasn't even mentioned, because so much has been made about Stewart, talking about Morelos and Čolak and complimenting them both, but saying Čolak's better than Morelos. Well, what about the striker that no one's talking about, that never even got a mention? That's who's just trotted on that waterlogged park. But again, I know what that man can do on a surface that looks like the bottom of Valhalla and Blackpool, people. He's shown us before, so I was so confident he was going to score, and nearly right away he was involved. It's just the way he runs. He's completely different than what we've actually got. I suppose the closest we've now got is Čolak in terms of movement and what he wants, but he just offers something different nearly on the end of this. But as the game ticks on, because we're going to have to chop a little bit of time, he complimented Lunny very well at the edge of the box. Nice little 1-2, set Lundstrom up, who has a shot that goes straight at the goalkeeper. But again, it was very good centre forward play for Kemar Roofe. But that did kick off a frantic minute and a half, people, that will be remembered for this tie, because Connor Barron also gets in behind the Rangers defence, but thankfully curls it wide when he's in behind. It ends up nearly gone out for a throw-in. But from that moment, we play the ball up. Sakala comes down the left-hand side. Sakala flicks the ball. He actually nutmegs Stewart here, and then Stewart comes out with one of the most needless and reckless challenges that I've ever seen. It is so baffling that you're a captain of a football club, and Sakala is going nowhere, really. He's at the edge of the box. I know he's got that lovely wee nutmeg, but he's only nutmegged him because Stewart's came out there and just threw his absolute body there. Now, I know there'll be idiots. I know there'll be moonhowlers sitting here saying, I took a red card. It's clearly a red card. Surely we can all hold our hands up and admit that is one of the worst challenges that I have seen in a long time. 10, 15 years ago, that's what you used to get every game, but no, these days it's horrific, it's high, it's dives right into him. Sakala does very well to actually be able to walk and play the rest of the game, by the way, but aye, that was the frantic talking point with Stewart getting the red card. I think it's disgusting. That really could have put Sakala on the actual shelf, but he does very well to sort of maybe protect yourself in the wide, because again, it just gets absolutely rocketed, and then we end up playing out the rest of the 8 minutes that was added on at the end with a Ryan Kent shotgun, a whisker wide. You think, was that the moment? No, I was still confident. I was that confident, in fact, and again, not to toot my own horn or anything like this, but when the first 90 actually ended, I sat and tweeted out saying, this game would be good for Scott Wright. You know what I mean? I wanted Scott Wright on because you can see the way now Aberdeen are doing to 10 men. They'll just flood the middle, so we need boys to actually get wide and stretch them. And Beale brought him on, and Wright was fantastic. People, that's the difference. And people say, oh, well, you slammed him when he brought him on versus Celtic. That's a completely different game in every single aspect. That there versus 10 men where Aberdeen are struggling as it is, to put another winger on there, stretch them out with the pace, was a masterstroke for Michael Beale, and right away it worked, and it had all the people that was, because I was getting roasted online by it. See, when I tweeted that out, I imagine it's because of what happened versus Celtic, because he got subbed on me through the game away and everything. I was getting cooked, saying blah 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 blah. Almost right away, picks the ball. He's just his low centre of gravity, and that's what frustrates me about the laddie, because he's got son, but it gets the ball, low centre of gravity, turns his man, drives into the box, and we know he can't cross it, but he can pick somebody out, and just with in terms of a pass, and Roofe's movement here is brilliant, just comes in, and it's a wonderful, nearly nonchalant finish with the left foot, bearing it by not only the goalkeeper but the 4 Aberdeen defenders that's near him. He's running away celebrating, he has his moment. The 2 boys I wanted on, the 2 boys I thought would make a difference, I've done it. I'm like, this is a dream. It's clearly no reality. Kemar Roofe is back, baby. And then Kemar Roofe in the second half injury time, after a lovely run, ends up breaking his arm. I think it's broken anyway, or it's out the socket, it's something, but he ends up falling, doing that. So aye, Kemar Roofe, if you want your punchline, if you want your headline, Kemar Roofe turned up, won the game, left the game. That's what that man does. I told you, he's a game changer. Now, it's unfortunate we didn't get to use him as much as we want, but he literally gave his arm for the team, alright? You heard the expression, I give an arm and a leg. He gave an arm. So shout out to Kemar. We thank you for your service. Hopefully you're not for too long, and hopefully the arm is alright. It was almost like that scene in Chamber of Secrets when his arm gets broken and he's just sitting cutting about that. It was like that, people. And then we were doing it 10 men versus 10 men in the second half of injury time. I'm having palpitations that would make a volcano blush. People, I'm saying, why have we not got a sub ready? He's been doing for 15 minutes. Would it not been a good idea to warm the sub up? And now, thankfully, Aberdeen didn't notice we were doing to 10 men and it was evenly balanced, because they were still playing as if it was 10 versus 11, and we eventually brought young Charlie McCann on, who came on with a lot of energy and everything like that. Also, by the way, I've got to mention Scotty Arfield and young Devine also came on during at the end of the first half when we took the lead. So we had enough fresh legs in there. I thought Charlie McCann maybe made a couple wrong wee decisions, but again, he's a young lad, he got involved, he was booked and all that as well, but we just weren't smart enough on the ball, I thought, especially in the last couple of minutes. Do you remember the season where we went undefeated? We had Joe Rebo, we just kicked it to Joe would just take the ball, run into the corner, we'd see the game out. We've not quite got that player yet that's able to do that. We still don't quite have the confidence and belief just to hold the ball and see out. We're just still so frantic. Scott Wright had a mare towards the end as well where he gives the ball away. But McGregor, who again, I've spoken about it, you look at his save percentages, he's the 4th worst goalkeeper in the league in terms of save to shot, save to goal ratio and everything like that. You can see where he actually is. But he did make 2 good saves, one for about 40 yards out with Johnny Hayes, where again, if it beats him for there, we've all probably got a different thing to say, but again, he gets a hand on it, and then in the very, very last second that everyone sort of forgot about, we aren't composed here, we give the ball away again, it's a floated crossing, he should just come and go, any other goalkeeper in the world just coming out like this, he's just coming out like this, oh shit, nearly done there, people, nearly done. Look at the recovery pose though, look at this, look at the shoulders, people, but anyway, holds on. He should have held on to the ball, but he doesn't come off his line. And when you didn't come off your line, you didn't claim your crosses. You're just giving an opportunity to the opposition and end up having a shot that is straight at the goalkeeper. But it is a good save. So he's my hero, people. Let me praise him once, because I'm sick to death of always slaughtering him and complaining about him. He's one of my favourite players of all time. Can I just say it was a good save for McGregor? Can we all just let me have that moment? Maybe the last time I say it, because he doesn't save many shots, people. But that was it. That's the game. That's the set. That's the match. Rangers are through to the final where they will meet Celtic. What's your thoughts and opinions? Let me know down in the comment section below. Again, if you win the line... What's wrong with my camera here? Oh. Again, if you didn't mind, let me know who your man of the match was as well. I think there's a couple candidates. I thought Jacko was my man of the match. I thought Kent was spectacular in the game and that as well. So I'd love to know what your thoughts and opinions are. Also, for a wrap up, Divine, 119th minute. I see you, big man. I didn't miss it. It was across to the very back post that we've been punished, we've been haunted by for a long time. We know that. Somebody's always in the back post and they score with Barisic Sleating. But young Divine. So I just wanted to shout him out and all that as well. But aye, that's the game recap. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down there in the comment section below. I'm going straight back to my bed to feel sorry for myself because I'm ill after this. But I'm going to go there, feel sorry for myself, sitting like this as we have marched on to the final. And once again, silence those sheep, people. But aye, that's it, ladies and gentlemen. That's reached the end of today's video. As always, I will see you in the next one. I've been CJ92. Thank you so much for watching, and bye.